Hey guys, Ningen here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and today we are going to do the team building guide for the TEQ Golden Frieza EZA. I did mention in my little news update video that I made last night, I wasn't expecting the EZA to drop as soon as part 2 started, so I hadn't got this pre-made, but ended up waking up a little bit early before work this morning, so I thought we would go through this very quickly for you guys, because I didn't really want to drop it like 12 hours after the EZA started, which would be the earliest I could make the video when I got home from work. So, TEQ Golden Frieza. His weakness is the Wicked Bloodline category, which I've already seen a lot of people in the wiki comments very confused. A lot of the EZAs, their weak category seems very obvious, like because it matches up with stuff that happened in the show or the movies, but Wicked Bloodline does seem a little bit confusing. I mean, I guess there is like the rivalry between Frieza and Cooler. They're not exactly a peaceful race, but hey, whatever, it is what it is. It's a category that you don't really see get used a lot for special things, so it's quite cool. But it is a standard 30 stage EZA. Now, as we've gone over in some of the previous videos, different EZAs get different damage restrictions, which will affect your team building. So if we scroll all the way down, once we get to stage 20, which goes all the way up to 30 and then beyond, this won't change. Damage reduction is for all super types. So what this means is super types pretty much completely useless from stage 20, they won't do any damage, but notice how none of the extreme types are on here. So if you don't have a full Wicked Bloodline team, you're more than capable of bringing other, say, extreme int units, because they'll have type advantage, whilst they don't get the extra bonus damage or reduce his damage, they will still be able to perform reasonably well if you can't make a full Wicked Bloodline team. So I think they did that for this one specifically because the Wicked Bloodline team is a bit more limited and not everyone is going to be able to field a full team, especially if you're a newer player. So this gives you a little bit more leeway because you can use any extreme types. Obviously extreme int is going to be the best, but you're not going to be penalised damage wise unless you're using super types, which is really good. So standard 30 stage EZA, you get all the medals, you get a ton of TEQ orbs, enough to rainbow a TEQ unit. So for those of us who already have him rainbowed, these are just spare orbs for someone else, which is awesome. Then we have the 11 TEQ Grand Kais and 30 stones, and then you get 4 stones from missions by being it within a certain time and using a Wicked Bloodline team at past stage 20. So 34 stones available, standard for a 30 stage EZA. So this is the Wicked Bloodline category. Obviously easy enough to go on the wiki or just filter your units by Wicked Bloodline. There's only one official leader on global, which is the Metal Cooler, and then the sub leader, there's the farmable Metal Cooler. He's not very good. There's definitely better options for him even for free to play, but because they don't specifically have Wicked Bloodline leader skills, they're not mentioned here. So we will scroll down and have a look if we miss any towards the end when we go through the honourable mentions, but let's go through very quickly the leader units that you could potentially bring. So obviously Metal Cooler is the official Wicked Bloodline leader. Now he does have type disadvantage against the EZA, but I think with as powerful a unit as he is, you're probably going to be fine even all the way up to stage 30, especially if you manage to get some dupes from the Zamasu banner. Not really a huge amount to say about him. He's really useful for things like EZAs because he has that guaranteed transformation. So if you drop below 50% HP, you're going to get a couple of turns where you can't take damage, but you're able to do free damage to him. Now this is where having dupes definitely comes in handy, because obviously if you have no dupes, his transformed version cannot crit, so you're not going to be doing huge amounts of damage, but that will still be very useful. Plus he has this built-in thing where you recover 7% HP at the end of the turn in which attack was received. So if he ever gets hit on any of your turns, at the end of the turn you recover 7% HP, which is really useful for EZAs, obviously, because you cannot use items. So I'm going to use a AGL Metal Cooler lead. I got very lucky on the Zamasu banner. Mine is 90% now, so he should be able to hold his own all the way up to stage 30. Maybe if you're trying to push further than stage 30, like some of us do, he might become a huge liability in the much higher stages, but at least up to stage 30 he should be perfectly fine. So then we have the first form Frieza. Now obviously this guy's been on a lot of banners, so if you summon even fairly regularly, you hopefully will have been lucky enough to get at least one copy of him. So of course he is a Wicked Bloodline unit himself, but his leader skill is for extreme types, 3 key and 120. So that means you can run him as your leader and then fill the team with Wicked Bloodline units, since they are all extreme, or as we said at the start, any other extreme units if you don't have a full Wicked Bloodline team. And he should be able to carry you through to the 30 stages, maybe not higher than that, but you should be able to get the first 30 done. He does recover HP at the start of every turn, and obviously he transforms as it goes through and gets more and more powerful, so he's going to be very useful. Even with Metal Cooler lead, he is a very good candidate for being on your team, if for no other reason than the free healing. But he is a very hard hitting unit, and he gets quite tanky as he transforms through the forms as well. So then we have the Metal Cooler core. So this is the best option for free to play characters. Now I say that, obviously technically he's free to play because he comes from the Battlefield shop, but even if you can't fully complete Battlefield, he's the best Battlefield LR that is available. Obviously because we don't have, I think we still only have him and Oob. I think King Cold and Frieza are going to get added sometime soon, but he's definitely better than Oob. So even if you haven't been able to fully complete Battlefield, he's been out long enough that you should hopefully have been able to get enough Battlefield memories to get at least one copy of him. And then he is an extreme types leader, 3 key and 70%. So just like the Frieza, that means you're going to be able to make a Wicked Bloodline team with him, even though that's not technically his leader skill. Plus it gives you the freedom to put other extreme type units on if you can't run a full Wicked Bloodline team. And then of course, regardless of whether you do have the better leaders, he's a really good unit to put on your team anyway, because he's an LR. He's very good even for a free to play card, and obviously under a much higher leader skill, especially if you are running the AGL Metal Cooler, this guy is going to do insane amounts of damage to Frieza because of the type advantage. So I'll definitely be running him on my team. And then the last unit that I wanted to talk about in terms of leader, now that might seem odd to some people, he's a very good unit to put on the team, just like the Metal Cooler, because he has type advantage. He's an incredibly hard hitting unit, so regardless of who you use as your leader, if you have this guy, you should be running him on your team. But he is a Resurrected Warriors category leader, which does include a few of the Wicked Bloodline units like the Metal Cooler core and the support Metal Cooler. But then his secondary leader skill is int types, key +3, HP, attack and defense. So if you really needed to, you could run this guy as a leader, put the couple of Resurrected Warriors Wicked Bloodline units on there, and then fill the rest of the team with int types. There's a couple of Wicked Bloodline units that aren't on Resurrected Warriors who are int units, like the GT Frieza, and then of course you can use other extreme int types because they don't suffer from that damage mitigation. So he's kind of a last resort as a leader, I think, but if you don't have anyone else you can use, he's very good, and obviously he at least gives himself his full leader skill. So if you're using him and a friend Angel Golden Frieza, they will both be hitting insanely hard. You should be able to get through the first 30 stages. So now we're going to talk about some of the units that you definitely want to be bringing, or at least some honourable mentions. I can't remember how many I picked for each one, but we'll go through them very quickly. So obviously if you have LR Full Power Frieza, he's a very good choice. I unfortunately didn't pull him, but he's a very hard hitting LR. He gets more powerful as your HP drops, which obviously in an EZA you can't heal with items, so as you get a couple of turns through, he's going to be able to hit incredibly hard and hopefully seal the deal for you. So if you do have him, very, very good unit to bring. His links aren't the best because he does have over in a flash and not like shocking speed, but of course everyone pretty much on the team has strongest clan in space, so shouldn't be too difficult to at least get his 12 key super attack, and that does sacrifice some of his HP, which then of course helps you activate his passive on the subsequent turns. So if you do have him, I don't see any reason not to use him at all. The only reason, I'm going to show a couple of example teams at the end, and obviously he's not on any of them because I don't have him. So then of course we have the int version of the Golden Frieza. Now he is, well, I say it's probably between him and the AGL one, but they're obviously, they pale in comparison. I was going to say is the worst Golden Frieza, but they pale in comparison to the TEQ one. Honestly, even the free-to-play physical one from the Broly movie is probably better than this guy, but he does at least have type advantage, and he's a very old unit, so if you have him, he's definitely worth using. I didn't realise until I put my example teams together, I put him on one of them, and I've literally never used him to the point where I haven't actually Dokkan awakened him, so you will see that later on. But he gets attack and defense 60%. I mean, nothing special, but like I said, if you have him at SA10, maybe with a couple of dupes, he will still be able to do reasonably well on this particular event just because of the category bonus and the fact that he has type advantage. So moving swiftly on, we have the GT Frieza that I briefly mentioned before. He is a support unit, which is really good. Key +2, attack and defense 25%. He does also have some built-in damage reduction, so that coupled with the category advantage and type advantage means he should be able to tank reasonably well. Plus he's a free-to-play unit, so you should have easily been able to farm him up if you chose to do so. I did rainbow him because the Wicked Bloodline team does need support units. Obviously if you're using the Metal Cooler as the leader, you can't use the Int Metal Cooler, so this guy is a decent support. I'll probably run him on my main team as well. He does have a stun chance, but obviously that's not useful in EZA, so he does do supreme damage, and of course he's got all the links that we want, so he's very, very good as well. Then we go on to our boy, the currently Global's best Final Form Cooler. Let me know in the comments down below if you are hyped for STR Cooler. That's a completely different topic, but man, I want that card so bad. But anyway, physical Final Form Cooler is still very, very good. He does immense damage. He has built-in chance to additional, so he's going to be able to put out some very good damage in this event. He does also get 100% defense, so he should be able to tank reasonably well in the earlier stages. Maybe when you get to the last few and including stage 30, he'll probably be taking a bit more damage than everybody else on the team, but especially if that RNG kicks in, if you get a turn where he fires off 3 super attacks, he's going to be doing a huge amount of work for you, so he's very, very good. Then we go on to the non-LR full power Frieza. Of course, if you've got him fully Extreme Z awakened, he's going to be an insanely hard hitting unit. He's only really good defensively if you put him in the first slot, and obviously he's got one of those passives that doesn't activate until he attacks, so if there's multiple attacks in the first slot, he's not going to get that defensive boost straight away. So he's not the best defensive unit, but he's an insanely hard hitter. So on this event where he gets that category bonus, even without type advantage, if you have this guy fully EZA'd and rainbowed, he is going to hit like an absolute truck. So he is definitely an honourable mention. Then we have the old LR Frieza, the Prime Battle one. He's definitely very outdated now, but of course he is a solid free-to-play option because that event has been around for quite a long time. They changed the restriction for categories a long time ago, so you didn't just have to use strike cards, and there are a lot of very good free-to-play like drop card teams. So I guess the main obstacle for a lot of people is the stamina. If you weren't around for the LR Frieza campaign, then obviously you just kind of have to chip away at it every weekend. But I guess if you're free to play, you should be exploiting every possible opportunity to get free to play cards. So if you have this guy, he's going to be very, very useful as well. Then we have the support Metal Cooler. He doesn't have his EZA on global yet, so we'll keep it on this page. He is a support unit, 30% attack and 2 key, which will be very useful, just make everybody hit that a little bit harder. But as we've mentioned previously in the video, he does just have the name Metal Cooler, so if you are using the AGL Metal Cooler as your team leader, you won't be able to use him. So if you're not using him as your leader and you have this guy, no reason not to put him on the team. He's definitely very, very good. Literally the only reason you wouldn't use him is if you're using AGL Metal Cooler, in my opinion. And then last but not least, for the honourable mentions, we have this the summonable GT Frieza. Now obviously you can't use him and the Int one at the same time, but this one is a much harder hitter. He gets 80% attack and defense. You can't seal the event anyway, plus there isn't really any Wicked Bloodline units that seal, so you're in this EZA, you're never going to get this secondary part of his passive. But as a summonable unit, he just has higher stats overall than the free-to-play one and will hit a lot harder. But of course he isn't a support unit, so it kind of depends how you want to trade that off. If you already have a team pretty much full of hard hitters and you only have this guy with like 1 or 2 dupes, the support unit in one is probably the better choice, just to boost everybody up. And the fact that the support one does have type advantage and damage mitigation. But I thought I'd mention him anyway. I've pulled him enough times that I ended up rainbowing him I don't think I even used any Kais, maybe a couple of dozy Kais here and there. So he's definitely a solid option if you want to fully fill out that Wicked Bloodline team. So I'll put the link to this page in there. Obviously, like I said, you can always just filter it by Wicked Bloodline in your units. Just having a quick scroll down, see if there's anyone we missed. Obviously, I didn't go over a lot of AGL units because they all have type disadvantage. But the AGL Golden Frieza, I would guess we didn't mention TEQ Golden Frieza himself, even though it's his EZA, because he's a very, very good tank. It's definitely worth bringing him along. Obviously, you can't use him if you use the Int one, but to be perfectly honest, the Int one is so bad, I would probably use the TEQ one anyway. Then, of course, we don't have this cooler. This Final Form Frieza could be pretty good. He can build up his attack insanely high as long as he gets attacked first. So you've got to put him in the first slot. Obviously, being with the category advantage, he's not going to take huge damage, but he definitely won't tank as well as most of the units on the team. But the trade-off for that is he's going to be able to put out some pretty crazy attack stats. So he's definitely a unit worth mentioning. The free-to-play Golden Frieza, I did mention him briefly. He has built-in damage mitigation and is a movie boss's support unit, so he's going to support any coolers that you have on the team, but pretty much only the coolers. Also the free-to-play EZA second form Frieza, he's an AoE unit. He's not going to get much of his abilities active because he gets extra attack if the enemy is in attack down, which the EZA can't be attack downed after the first. Let's have a look. Yeah, once you get to stage 15, he can't be attack down, so he's not going to be that useful, I don't think. And then once you get onto the SSRs with no awakenings, I don't think there's any other ones really worth mentioning. Shout out to EZA, one of the most random fusion cards, who I rainbowed for some bizarre reason. Yeah, he's not that good, but I mean, hey, why not, right? If you want to make a full Wicked Bloodline team and you don't have any other options, you could use him. So that is it for the brief summary. We're going to quickly flick over to the in-game and I'm going to go over some of my example teams and then we will wrap it up. Okay, so we're going to go through these 3 example teams very quickly. I don't want the video to be too long, plus we have pretty much explained all of the units already anyway. So this is the team that I'm going to run. Like I said, I'm using the Metal Cooler leader. We've got Golden Frieza for the tanking. Transforming Frieza hits very hard, heals, can tank reasonably well as well. Metal Cooler, he's going to be putting out insane damage with all his additionals, and he won't take a lot of damage as well thanks to the LR stats and type advantage. Then we got the GT Frieza for some support, and the Angel Golden Frieza, who again will be an insanely hard hitting unit. I think this is probably the best team you can run. I mean, you could arguably change around maybe like the GT Frieza, but this team will absolutely steamroll the first 30 stages, and I would probably imagine I can get all the way up to at least stage 100 without having to make any changes. So I would recommend this team if you can make it. But let's have a look at the other options. So I made this one. This is more of a like free to play friendly one. So as we talked about, the Metal Cooler army is technically a free to play unit, right? So you can use them as the leader. Then you got the GT Frieza, physical Golden Frieza, the second form EZA Frieza, LR Frieza, and then out of all of the Metal Coolers, the physical one is the one. They all have different abilities, right? So they all have a buff to attack and defense per Wicked Bloodline category team, and then each of the different colored ones has a different special ability. There is one that is a support one, I forget which one it is, but the physical one heals you based on the amount of damage that he does. So obviously in an EZA where you can't use items, he's going to be incredibly useful. So this is the more like free to play friendly version of the team. If you are completely free to play, you should be able to run this team as long as you obviously do farm all of the events for all of the units as and when they come out. So this team, I would be pretty confident in saying that this team can get you to stage 30, especially if you bring an AGL Metal Cooler friend. It may struggle past there, but you should be able to do at least the full EZA. And then we have the interesting team that I mentioned with the Angel Golden Frieza, just to show you what this would look like. So Angel Golden Frieza, you've got the LR Cooler core, and both of the Metal Coolers here are on Resurrected Warriors, so they will get his full leader skill. And then the support GT Frieza and the Int Golden Frieza, remember, who I have never Dokkan awakened, he'll probably get an EZA in the future along with the AGL one, like they did with the other like Super Sentai Gokus or Walmart Gohans, etc. But JP hasn't even had it yet, so God knows when that will be. But yeah, so this team fully in, full type advantage, full category advantage. So even though these two only have the 50% leader skill, you would just keep these two off rotation and then have a Angel Golden Frieza friend. Probably just run the rotations of Angel Golden Frieza and the LR, and then Angel Golden Frieza. And what does the Int one do? So the Int one recovers HP at the start of the turn. So if you are free to play, I haven't put any orbs into the Int one apparently, but you could run Angel Golden Frieza with LR Cooler and then Angel Golden Frieza with this guy. So you have the support units off rotation and then this guy just kind of floating around. You could easily replace him with any other Int unit if you don't have him, because he really isn't that good. Like I said, even units like LR Bojack, if you have him, doesn't really fit into the theme, but he's still probably better than this guy. But there you go. So that's the 3 example teams. Like I said, this is the one I'm going to run. I will probably stream the EZA. I'm not sure when, because obviously, like I said in my news update last night, when it drops, I'll be at work. So then when I get home in the evening, hopefully I'll try and stream it then for you guys. So keep an eye out on the channel. Obviously I will schedule it up on there, and I will tweet about it about an hour or so before I go live. So keep an eye out if you do want to see that. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit the bell icon so YouTube will let you know once I go live or have posted another video. And I will see you guys there. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. Good luck with the EZA. I'm sure you guys will be able to at least smash through the first 30 stages, and any of you who want to see how far you can get, that is something that I like to do on most of the EZAs. Have a nice little friendly rivalry with you guys and see just how far we can go. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. You can follow me on Twitch or join my Discord. The link is in the description below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.